So now we've got our objects on our stage, we're going to look at some of the properties we can do. Now if we actually click over here just on the edge and drag this out, we get our full benefit of looking at our properties over here. This view gets a bit smaller, but the first thing I'm going to do is just click on this little camera icon here and scroll down to the bottom and look at this one. The first one I want to fix is I want to fix where the output's going to go, and I'm just going to click out for here, and I'm going to scroll and click on this little icon over here and take it into users, find your name or your user ID, click into documents. Actually, I'm just going to go onto desktop, and I'm going to make a folder, so create a new directory, and the new directory I'm going to call renders, and I'm going to select that renders so that it appears up here, and I'm going to click on accept. Now if I want to render this out, I need to render the animation. Currently the animation is 250 frames long and I don't want to render that out, so just going to go out and make this render here. Just click into here, turn this into 1, so it's got a 1 frame render, and I'm going to go render animation, and it just creates that 1 frame. Now that should be, if I just minimize here and minimize here, close out the email, there should be a renders file here, and there it is there, 001 on the desktop. I'm going to click into that, it's going to show me in preview, there it is there. So that's the preview I'm looking at in my renders file. And as you can see, it's a bit dark over on the side here, so let's fix that up straight away. Go back into Blender now, close that JPEG out, preview, and go to from here, little icon here, to 3D view, and it brings us back into here. As I said, it's a bit dark, so let's click on here and press Shift D to duplicate that. Just bring this other light, and you can see it's directly over that sort of area now. And let's just go render image, and we'll just see a preview. It's a lot lighter now. You can see that there's a double shadowing effect happening, and it's quite dark here where the shadows aren't quite getting there. So what we're going to do now, just go back to our 3D view, is on that light, we're going to click on this little icon over here, which has got little arrows sticking out of it. I'm going to turn the energy of this down just by dragging it down to about 30%. 29 is good. I'm going to go render and render image now. You can see it's a little bit darker on that. These other shadows aren't as strong. That's a little bit of a nicer image. It's still got the different colors, and you can actually just change those lights. If you were to go and change the light so it looks a little bit more like a sun, and render it, you notice it's a little bit more of a stark difference. So you don't want those differences happening. So basically I want to go back to being a point light, and change it back to the 3D view. The next thing I'm going to do is I look at my monkey here. Let's zoom in on the monkey. Just press and hold shift and zoom across. There it is there. It's a bit jagged. I can right click to select my monkey, and over here on the tools section here, I can click on smooth, and it does smooth that monkey out a bit, so you can see now it's a smooth sort of a shape now. And I can also do the same to this one here. You can turn that on and off, flat and smooth. Whoops. If you don't want it to look like that, but I actually want mine to have that sort of smooth look. So if I go render image, you can see there that I've actually got a smoother sort of a point happening. I might add some extra lights lower down later on so I can get rid of this really dark shadow here. Another thing I can possibly do is change the ambient lighting for the whole system, but we'll look at that in another tutorial. So basically now I want to look at each image, so I'm going to change back to my 3D view here, and I'm going to change each color or each surface to be a different color. So let's choose the box first. I'm going to press on this little button, sorry, not that little button here, this little button here, this little sphere like icon here, and you can see I've got a white material already selected for this. I can change this by choosing any color. Just going to move it out to the full blue, and you can see it changes to blue in the view field. If I actually render that, it's going to be a blue box as opposed to a white box or a grey box. It's going to do the same thing to the monkey, except that this time I need to add a new material, and I can change the color once again. This time I'm going to make the monkey in the bright green. I'm going to right click on this and add a new, and I'm going to put the monkey in the sphere in the bright red. So I've got my red, my green, and my blue. I'm going to click on this guy over here now, this wall over here, and add new. And I'm going to use the pastel sort of colors in here to sort of make that a yellow, and go OK. And then this one here, I'm going to apply the same material to it. So it's the same material on that wall and that wall. The floor, I'm going to add a new material. Just going to make it in a sort of a grey color, or a pinky grey color. And these guys here, I'm going to add a new one, and I'm going to make it really deep purple sort of thing. You're not really going to see that anyway. I'm going to select this one and add that material to that. So now if I go render image, you can see that I've got a bit more definition with more colors and that sort of thing. Excuse me. So let's close out of that. Let's do the next thing, and this is going to make rendering a little bit slower. So basically we've got to look at what we're doing here with the rendering. The first one I'm going to affect is the floor, and the floor is it's currently like a pink color. I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm going to choose the mirror section here. I'm going to check on the mirror section, and I'm going to turn the reflectivity up to a 0.2. Now if you scroll back up, you'll see the effect that is taking place here in the preview screen. Now if I render this, you can see that the floor has reflections on it, and instead of taking less than a second, it's now taking 2 seconds per frame. So simply adding in those reflections has increased the reflectivity, the animation time by quite a significant amount. So if I now go render animation, it's going to render over the top of the previous one I had. So let's go into Finder and find that one. And now if I double click on it, it's a much nicer sort of image happening there. It's currently rendering as a JPEG. Yours probably renders as a PNG. Let's actually have a look at that. Go back to camera view now and scroll down. I've got my as a JPEG quality 100. You can actually change to any of these. So you can choose PNG, for example, and put the compression up or down. You can use the color depth of 16, and then you can actually go render animation. And it took the same amount of time, but it's created this PNG file here, which actually is a lot nicer and smoother in terms of the color depth that you've done. So you can see that we've got quite a nice sort of artistic effect happening, and we should be quite happy with that sort of